And we're back.
Hi.
People who are listening to this on the podcast are like, okay, if you're on YouTube right now, because also if you're listening to this on the podcast, we also upload these on YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, we're just this video. We missed the video before. Don't worry about it. Listen to it on the podcast. Download it on iTunes. Link below. Okay, so where were we?
So, where were we were talking about the story that you were telling, but we can start.
This a podcast, right? That's what podcasts are for. So we're gonna finish the story of Dallas, Texas.
Yes. So, Shay and I's relationship. We were dating, blah, blah, blah. If you didn't hear that part, go back. And he had an opportunity to go to Texas to work as a pest control salesman.
So one night,
like promising opportunity to make all this money and stuff.
Right,
like that.
right. So, this one night I went over to my friend's house and his brothers are starting a pest control company. And they're like, "Do you want to come sell pest control with us in Dallas, Texas?" I'm like, "What am I selling?
Pest
Raid
control?
door to door? Like, I got a bottle of Raid here. You can shoot the roaches. Here's some ant squishers."
Ant squishers?
We sold ant. They're like just chopsticks. It was like such a ripoff. You just squish. I mean, it was so.
What?
No, I made all this up. So, ant squishers, $29.95. Those are chopsticks.
No, they're ant squishers.
That a girl, you did it. You went along with my funny joke.
Oh, I'm trying to keep up with them.
So basically what it was is, in places where it's hot most of the year, the insects kind of build up. Where we were from in Idaho, it'd be winter, and so
that's why it sounded so weird. It's like, why would you need to sell
But if you live like, in Atlanta or Phoenix or Dallas,
places where the bugs just attack
there's
all
always,
year long.
ants and fire ants, and there's these places where there's just bugs and spiders everywhere, but where you live where it's cold, you don't really have that problem. So we would go and literally we'd wear these polo shirts. You've probably seen them at your door, khaki shorts and tennis shoes, and we'd knock on your door. We'd had this whole spiel. This is like my first, I was, every door, it was like I was putting in this like Shay Carl, like this is before I even did YouTube.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, hey,
you gotta be a total
on? And I was, I was playing the
doors
whole
slammed on your face all day long, maybe like 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20.
Oh yeah. That's tough. Door to door sales. If you've never sold something door to door, talk about being out in the Dallas sun in the afternoon and it's 90 degrees and you're just knocking on doors.
Mentally and physically exhausting.
You're hot but I was in good shape.
You were.
We should just talk about that for a second. So basically I told her, I said, okay, so I'm leaving. I had this great opportunity to sell pest control, and because they sold me on it. So then I was like, yeah, I'm going to make all this money, because you could make like $150 per contract you sold, because you would sell these annual contracts that were sometimes $400 or $500, because you'd go to these really nice areas, and then you'd get a commission. You'd get anywhere from $100 to $200 depending on the split that you got. So can
how
make
many
some
would
good
you
money.
sell?
So if you sold 200 contracts in a summer, because you'd go there just for the summer, you could make probably $30,000 in a summer.
How many did you sell?
I sold like 250 or something.
Hello.
So yeah, that was a great summer, because I was a pretty good salesman. I could talk to people, and it was hard. You're out there knocking on doors. People would slam the door. Get out of this area. You're not allowed to be in this area. Does the homeowners association know you're in this area? So you went through. I had guns. I saw guns.
What?
But they would recruit us, because I had just gotten home from knocking on doors for 2 years as a Mormon missionary. You know what I mean? So I was used to that work in a sense.
The same.
I know
in that way.
So
tell him where you were living, though.
Okay,
Come
so
on.
I was living.
Wait, so he left, and I was like, okay, well, I was registered in school for the next semester.
Right.
I was still working, so it was like I had my life. I needed to stay and finish school. Don't drop out of school, kids. And so I was doing that, and he was going to Texas, and I was like, okay, well, all right. It was sad, but we just kind of had to do it.
I was trying to do like an ultimatum, it's like this good opportunity, and I didn't want to leave, because I I
he wasn't going to stay for me. I wasn't.
But at the same time, I was like, I'm leaving, and I was like, wanted to see what you'd do, are you good?
I cried. I did cry. But anyway, so he goes to Texas, and here I am, like, I'm working, I'm living with my aunt and uncle. I'm like going to school, like eating a lot. Seriously, I was eating a lot, because I was working at Wingers, and my cousin worked at this bakery, and so she would bring home like leftovers from the bakery every night. Oh my gosh, I ate so much. Anyway, so I was like depressed and bored with my stupid life, and here he is. Excuse me. Should we talk about being fat? No, but seriously, I did gain so much weight. It's the most I've weighed.
She gained like 15
But it's the
pounds.
most I'd gained like ever. It's the most I'd weighed up to that point. Like,
But
I
you were
have
still
since
super
I have
hot.
weighed more than that, but
Yeah.
up to that point, it's most I weighed. Anyway, so he's in Texas and he's having the time of his life. He's living with all of his buddies and he's living in this place called the Mansions.
Right.
Let's just think about that. It's called the Mansions.
Well, that was the apartment complex we lived in. But there was like 6 dudes in one apartment.
Yeah,
and it was a 3-bedroom apartment.
Such a nice
and
place.
it was nice, but yeah, I was probably the best shape I've ever been in my life.
Well, they had like a basketball court, they had a swimming pool, they had tanning beds in like their little guest lobby, a workout room. Like they had everything.
This was our schedule. We would get up, we'd go play basketball, like 3-on-3 hard because we were like competitive. These are all my friends from high school, all my best friends from high school, and my brother, Casey. And it was like 6 of us dudes, like my best friends and my brother. Me and Casey had the same room. And we were all making good money because we were all like could talk, and it would all gone on missions. So we all did well selling door to door. So it was like I had bought like this new Honda Accord that I got, and I was like, I basically like was trying to like be the best person I could be because I knew that she was gonna come visit me at one point during the summer. So I thought when she gets here, I'm gonna knock
and
her
his teeth
socks
were
off.
white.
I know me
and
because Casey too.
tan.
Casey was dating his now wife Kaylee.
Right, Kaylee.
And they both, Colette and Kaylee, both came out to visit me and Casey when we were in Dallas.
And
I
weighed so much more than
we
she
were
did.
some slick
Let's just
monkeys.
talk about that.
Anyways, she'd gained a little bit of weight, but it wasn't that big of a deal, really. She's still super hot.
It makes it more of a deal because you lost.
I did. I was like 170.
Weight.
Literally, me and Casey, we were like using Crest White strips. We were like, okay, so we'd get up, we'd go play basketball, then we'd go swimming for an hour, then we'd go eat lunch, and then we'd go to a meeting, a sales meeting at like 2. And then we'd go to the mall, like hang out at the mall.
When he was supposed to be knocking doors.
And then we'd go out. We wouldn't do this every night. But then we'd go out and like for 3 hours a night, and we'd just knock doors hard because we didn't want to be out there during the sun. And nobody was home during the days anyways. So what we'd try to do is like, let's just hit it right when everybody gets home from work. And we'd just knock and just like pick the best neighborhood. And we'd get like, 2 or 3 sales a night. And it was sweet.
That's a lot of money.
But it was a thing that these people actually needed because these people, like some of them, like there was fire ant mounds.
Oh yeah, when we
yards.
lived in North Carolina, I definitely wanted pest control.
So we did this
and Arizona.
a few times. Yeah, during our marriage,
it's definitely worth it. It's a worthwhile sell.
If you live in those areas, you probably have a pest control service. It's not a weird thing. We're trying to describe it, but a lot of people are like, yeah, I have pest control. I use it all the time. Anyway. So now you know how much the salesman made when they sell that contract to you. She eventually came out, and this was like kind of later because I had that new car and I started to make some good money, and I was like working out every day. Because then after we'd go walk, and you'd walk probably like 4 miles a night, like knocking doors.
Right.
I mean, you were walking back and forth in these things. So like my legs were in super good shape.
Anyway, he was in really good shape.
So
let's talk about when we first. So Kaylee and I flew out there together, and at the airport, didn't you videotape this?
Oh,
we have this on video somewhere.
Casey does.
Where is it?
Oh, did he film it? Who filmed it?
I can't remember now.
You're right.
We have this on video somewhere.
Oh my gosh, we've got to find this footage.
We've got to find it.
Denise, call me and I'll try to. It's probably somewhere in Utah somewhere.
Yeah, it probably
it's hidden in.
We might have to find it when we go home for Christmas.
I'll tell you where it's at. It's in a Tupperware bin that has like Halloween decorations in it. It's a little tape. It's one of those tapes that Casey had on those things.
Like a VHS.
And it's probably on the bottom. Little tiny tapes, and it's probably like we'll never find it. But if we find that footage,
we might go home and search for some things when we go home for Christmas because there's a lot of things like that we need to show you guys.
Because he filmed when we hugged.
Yeah, the first time he came up behind me, like we were at the airport waiting for our bags, and we were kind of looking for him, and he came up behind me and hugged me from behind, and it was just like, oh Shay, and I turned around and I looked at him and I was like, who are you? He looked so different. I almost didn't recognize him. Like his face was so thin. He was way tan, and like
my teeth
were so white. They were like
the
gleaming.
mirage.
They were like, I had to close my eyes. They were so bright. Anyway, I was like, oh my gosh. And immediately I'm like, I should have worked out.
So it kind of sounds like douchey that I was like all
No, it wasn't at all. It was awesome.
But I was, I guess in my mind, I was like, I'm going to become the best person I can be to present myself to you. I think, in hindsight, that's kind of like this. That's a psychology
and it's like we're
it.
talking so much about like what you looked like, but you were like reading.
Oh yeah, dude, I was reading books. I was like, as what's the self-actualization term? I was being all that I could be.
Yeah,
I was meeting
really
all of
trying.
my, they talk about the pyramid. What is that? It's like you start out with, you have to have air, water, and food. And then the next one, you have to have a good relationship. And it's like this, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's like a pyramid. Mm-hmm. And at the very, very top of it, it's like self-actualization. You have all your needs met. And at the very top, it's like physical, mental, spiritual, all that. And I think in a sense, that's what I was kind of trying to do. I was like, trying to have that self-actualization, trying to become the very best, in every way that you can, physically, spiritually, mentally.
That's cool.
And then it was and that's what I wanted to present to you.
Well, you were presenting it, and it looked awesome. Let me tell you.
Oh, here's my body and my mind. So
here's
great
my body
now.
And my mind.
Do you like it now? Huh? You go for a ride in my new car? Yeah, you like it? You marry me now? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Are you Yoda now?
Yes, you marry me.
Meet by my size, do you?
Hey, Patricia! Hi. All right, so she came out to Texas.
It was awesome.
She kissed me a lot more.
I kissed you just as much before.
I think you kissed me more.
Oh, you do?
You thought
well, I missed you.
Better? Yeah, you missed me.
For sure.
Because we would have these ear sweating phone conversations.
You're sweating. That's a good
You ever
term
been in a
for
relationship where you're on the phone like every night for like 2
I
hours?
probably drove
2
my
or
aunt
3
and uncle
hours.
crazy.
She was always on the phone.
And I didn't have a cell phone. He had a cell phone.
I had a cell phone. And my
I didn't
minutes
have
were like
one yet.
skyrocketing.
That probably sounds so funny to y'all.
Yeah, because I would have to call your aunt's house and talk to you on the landline.
On the landline.
Where would you said you would go in the bathroom?
They have like they had an upstairs hallway, and the phone was right in the hallway, like right outside my bedroom.
Oh,
so I would just like sit there in the hallway on this little bench and like chat.
That's so funny because I would lay in my closet. I remember going in my closet and I just lay on the carpet in there and just talk to you for like hours.
Chat forever.
Talk about what she's doing, about what everything. We'd talk about everything. We literally probably when I was in Dallas for those month or 2 months. I mean, we probably talked more than we ever talked in our relationship. Like we literally on the phone, probably 2 or 3 hours really a day, just talking. And then she came out,
which I think is really important.
Yeah, I mean, we had
to
definitely
have time
talked
where
about
you're
everything.
physically not together, but you can emotionally and mentally bond, I guess.
That's probably actually a good time for our relationship because we like literally just talked. That's all we could do, just talk on the phone. We didn't email, anything. It was just all on the phone. So then, blah, blah, blah. I finished selling pest control, came home. Her missionary.
We didn't talk about the rotating
right.
restaurant.
So when she was there, of course, in my little
let me start this.
Okay.
We went to Six Flags, and I am not an amusement park person because I get sick really easily on rides, and I don't necessarily get throw up sick, but I will get dizzy later. Like my whole vertigo is thrown off for the rest of the day, and like I can't sleep at night because I'm just spinning and spinning. So we went to Six Flags, and I didn't take any Dramamine, and so I pretty much was spinning the rest of the night. And he takes me
to that restaurant then. Yeah, did that make it better?
No.
I didn't even think about that.
You didn't?
Oh
well, I remember going to the restaurant.
As romantic now that I think
and
about
thinking it was still awesome and romantic, but we went to this restaurant and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was like
tell them what
so
it is.
up high.
It's in Dallas.
I don't know what
Denise,
it was called.
Find it. It's like a giant ball. If you know the Skyline of Dallas, you'll see this giant ball with lights on it. There's a restaurant.
It's a rotating restaurant.
At the very top of that. And as you're sitting there eating, the entire thing rotates so you can see the entire city. And it's like really slow. So as you're sitting there, your table is like rotating around the city and you're in the top of this ball in Dallas. It's cool.
Yeah. So since I wasn't feeling 100%, I didn't feel like I was like cute, like I got ready, but I was like, oh, I'm not that cute.
Is that why you wore sweatpants?
Look, I did not. I wore a skirt. I looked okay. And he looked so amazing. He wore a shirt and a tie.
I wore a tie?
You wore a tie.
Oh, yeah. I did.
And
I remember. We have a
his hair
picture.
was like spiked up cute. He was so handsome.
So I freaking spent $75 on this joint. It was really expensive. Some
Hey,
dude,
and
I
there was a
tip some
like
guy
a-
playing the violin.
A guy playing a violin. Like, it was
roses
fancy.
and all that crap.
And I ordered like, it was either chicken or salmon with like pistachio dressing.
It was. It
was so good.
The food was really good because I hate when you go to one of those nice restaurants and they bring you this food and it's like all pretentious. Like, what is it? This sucks. It's like $7, but the food, I had the steak and they had like bacon wrapped around the steak. I was like, yeah, that's right.
It was awesome. Anyway, so that was one of the fancy schmancy dates we went on.
So, okay, so we've got to speed this up a little bit. So, here's the other thing is her missionary, who she still is waiting for, basically, to come home.
I'm not anymore waiting for him.
Right.
I'm not waiting
He's
for him
been
anymore.
on the
Just so
mission
you know.
serving the Lord for 14 years
14
now.
years.
He's trying to do as much as Jesus did. 40 years. Anyway. So,
oh, man.
Okay, so I get an
he
email.
came back.
You emailed me this, I think. She emailed me that this missionary is going to extend his mission. Because I'm basically like,
no,
listen.
you were back by then, right?
No, he extended while I was in Dallas.
No way.
Yes, because I was like about to come home because I'm like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chill in Dallas. I'm gonna chill here in Dallas. I'm gonna listen to me some George Strait. Dallas, baby, run.
Oh, that was our
take a
song.
hand. Yeah, that was our song at the time.
Baby, run, cut a path across the blue sky. Get here fast enough. What's the chorus?
You know that song, George
Yeah.
Strait. Check it out. So that was like our song because I had moved to Dallas, and that's talking about like, leave Dallas, come back to me, and so I was waiting for her missionary to get home. So I'm like, I'm gonna chill in Dallas, and then I found out he's gonna extend his mission 6 weeks, and I was like, no, come home.
And basically, I felt like I had to just see him, at least once or twice when he got back to see if like any feelings, like just talk to him,
Right. And I'm
kinda
glad you
see
did
where
in
we were
hindsight
at.
because, this is going back to like, the culture in our church is that, some girls, they don't wait, because it's 2 years, and, you don't have to wait. And it's like, you did it the healthy way.
It's just,
you said, because you got to be honest, some girls are saying like, you are my boyfriend. I'm waiting for you when you come back. Some of my friends,
which
they have
for some people, that's what they want. Like with my parents, my dad wasn't going to go on a mission, and
they were going to get married.
They were going to get married, and he felt like, I really want to do this for myself. This is something that I just feel I need to do. And she was like, okay, go, and I will wait for you. And she did, and she was happy doing it, obviously, and she married him, and they had the greatest love story ever, which is a whole other story. But for some people, it works out right. But I feel like the best way to do is say, no, this is what you're wanting to do with your life. Let's just...
Everybody
I'll do
has
my
a different
thing,
story,
you do your
though.
thing.
Everybody, because that's
everybody
another
has a
thing I learned.
different
It's like,
story.
well, how did it work for you? Everybody has a different story. No story, like you don't say like, oh, that's how it happened for Shay and Mommy Tart, so I'm gonna do it like that.
Yeah,
everybody's story is different. So don't get bogged down on that. So, long story short, the dude comes home, and it was like the night where she's gonna go on a date with him, and I was like excited. I was like, I will pay. I will pay for this date. I was like literally like
guy.
I'm like, because at this point like. You can imagine, like, there was some drama. Like, my mom hated you.
She
like,
don't like me.
And, like, some of the biggest
Which is
fights,
understandable.
because it was, like, and all my friends hated you, because it was, like, we had dated for, like, a year, and, how long was it? And it was, like, a year where I was, like, heartsick about, like, no, I'm gonna marry this girl. And I was, like, everybody, it was, like, just move on, dude, move on. And I was, like, no, I'm, like, this is the one. And I just had to wait for him.
I couldn't move. I mean, because I loved you.
And it was because that was the thing. Again, we were like a couple. It was like we were together. Like we were exclusive. We were kissing. It was like, and we definitely had a relationship. We were in a very serious relationship. It was like we just hadn't moved it to that next level where it's like, okay, we are definitely getting married now. Like we knew, and she said, I think you'd be a great husband and a great father.
And I just feel like I have to say that you are amazing to me, because I couldn't believe that he would like wait for me to figure out my emotions. I mean, I was waiting for this guy to get home from a mission to see if I liked him, but I was exclusively dating Shay. So it sounds so weird. It sounds so weird. But in my mind, I was like, I have to know, because I can't just say yes to you and then in the back of my mind go, what if? Or like if we ever along our road, in life where we have a marital fight or something, I didn't want that to ever like come back in my mind to be like, maybe what if?
Right.
And so I didn't want any what ifs. So I was like, I have to settle it completely in my heart and in my mind. So that's
Which is-
why
yeah.
I waited. It wasn't
is
like
good.
I was like, I don't think I like you. I'm going to wait and see if I like this guy more. It was like I had to settle something in here before I could totally
Give it all to me.
give
Your
everything
whole
to.
heart.
And I wanted to. I really wanted to just be able to say,
Hand it over.
here you go.
I want the whole thing.
There it is.
I'm gonna bite it like an apple.
And so he came back.
So yeah, he came back and
He
they
came
were
back.
going on this date, and I was seriously pumped. I was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "What are you gonna go to a movie? What are you gonna do?" And we were like a couple. We were like a serious couple. You know, we like bought Christmas presents for each other. We went to each other's family's house for dinner. I mean, we were a couple, and she was gonna go on a date with this dude, and I was never more excited. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, finally." And I was scared too, because I was like, "What if she comes back and she's like, oh, I mean that crossed my mind." I was like, "What if she likes him, or what if she kisses him?" Oh,
Which I didn't. I
so she
didn't.
came back and said, "Okay, I want to marry you."
No, well, what happened was, so
You wanna get
I
into all of that.
well, I don't know. You want to?
It's pretty religious.
It is pretty
Deals
religious.
with
Well,
praying.
it deals
I
with
don't know if you can handle that. It's
You can
pretty
handle
tough to hear
it.
about. Oh, jeepers.
Okay, well, we can stop there.
All right, thanks for joining the podcast. Okay.
Well, long story short,
Yeah.
I married Shay. We are deeply in love. We have
So
4
deep.
children now.
like the abyss of deepness.
Like the deepest abyss of
you
all
ever seen the
deepness.
movie Abyss? Like
In
triple
all
that love.
deepness.
Triple the abyss amount of deep love that we have.
It's true.
So yeah, so she with praying, and you know she talked to her dad, and you know she did pray about it because this is a huge decision.
And no, it was a huge emotional battle for me, and I went through it and came out
because
so happy.
one thing I think we should explain too is, you know, once again, like where you come from means a lot. Like, especially like cultural ways of doing things. Like we believe that we weren't just getting married, but that we were becoming companions forever. Literally,
Right.
we are going to be married for all time and eternity, whatever that means. Whether, you know, we believe that we would always be together even after we die. You know, we believe that we will be.
So getting married is
Sealed forever.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a huge
deal.
thing that it's like, and that's why, you know, so many marriages today end in divorces because people don't take that seriousness going into it. It's just like, oh yeah, I think he's pretty cute and he's got some money. I'm gonna marry him, you know. And so you see these things like Kim Kardashian and stuff, and it's like, you know, it's. You know, it kind of makes you
It's
sick
sad,
because
But
it was something that we took very, very seriously. It was something that was like a huge commitment, and that we like divorce wasn't even an option. You know,
No.
we've said that like if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be final. Like we are in this forever, and no matter what happens along the way, no matter what stupid stuff
we're gonna
I
work
do
through it,
or
I
whatever
do.
you say or I say or that happens, or one of the kids, heaven forbid, should pass away, or whatever we encounter in this crazy life of ours, we are always
We're
just gonna work
gonna
through
work
it
it out
together.
and work together.
You know,
That's the goal.
best friends, babe.
BFFs.
We're so in love, and you. I think like that's that Seinfeld episode, like Snooky, here's my
Oh,
cookie,
Pookie
here's
Bear,
my
I
cookie.
love you so
Don't touch
Okay.
me. Ed Bassmaster just texted me.
Well, that's
Would you look at
Would
that?
you look
Would
at
you
that?
look at it? So yeah, okay. So let's finish off. Let's just get the details.
well, yeah. That's
So
that's
she
the story.
she came to me. So let's tell the story. I was at the
Wait,
library.
let me tell the story
Okay,
for a
tell
second,
the story,
dog.
dog.
Okay, so after this
Shoot.
huge emotional battle, which I say I had to, I'm so glad that I did wait because I'm so totally happy and committed, and I know where I'm supposed to be, and it's in your arms, babe. Mwah. And so after, you know, I make this decision, I hadn't told Shaya. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy right now. I was so happy. So I came to,
Because you knew you had made your decision.
I had made my decision and felt so good about it.
So
like,
where
better
were you
than I'd
when
ever felt.
Where were you when you made this decision?
In my closet.
And you
That's
decided.
where I did my pondering, my praying. You know, that's where I did my meditations.
Even today, I was looking for Mommy Tart. I'm like, oh, she's
My
probably in the
closet.
closet. No, she doesn't get it.
I don't. My closet's not big enough.
Yeah. She has 800 pairs
I
of
need a
shoes
bigger
in
closet,
there.
babe.
So you decided, you said, I am going to marry Shay.
Yes.
Okay.
It was like, and at that point, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I want to be with him. It was like, I'm going to marry you right now.
I'm going to marry
you better be ready.
so hard. I'm going to so marry you.
What?
And we'd been dating for a year and a half at this
Weirdo.
point.
Yeah.
This was, a year and a half after the famous wakeboarding trip that we went on.
Yeah.
Listen to that in podcast 1. Download it below. So she came to the library.
So I came to the library where he was, and
Studying.
I basically just told him, and he looked at me like, I was like, well, I figured out what I want to do, or I made my decision.
I think you said I want to be with you or something, and I just knew.
Well, I told you like that I had decided, because then you looked at me like,
knew.
What?
I pulled you back. I was like, because I wanted to confirm that this information was true. I was like, wait a minute, okay, stop hugging me, look at me in the face. Are you saying you want to marry me? I wasn't like,
right.
I was like, and you're like, yeah, and I was like,
I just told him,
yeah.
I said, I want to be with you forever.
But I didn't propose right away, did I? Kind of.
No,
because,
you didn't.
right.
You just let me say it, and I did.
Yeah. And then we went to
I want
Subway.
to be with you forever. And then we went to Subway.
And
we were together
I was
forever.
talking about this at another point because right after she told me that yes, she did want to marry me, it was lunchtime. We went to Subway, and I remember thinking so it's not even doesn't matter who pays because it's both of our money now because
both of our
we're getting money, we're getting married. So will you pay for it? No. But I remember thinking that I was like, oh, it's so cool because it doesn't matter if I pay or you pay because now it's our money's together. That was that first time where it's oh, we're we weren't even married yet.
We
weren't even
married
yet, but we're
but it felt
yeah, we're gonna get married, and we didn't know when at the point. It was still
well, let's talk about that. We got engaged. Let's see, just a couple weeks later.
Yeah, because I feel like I asked you that day in the car, kind of.
Yeah,
I didn't
but
remember.
when you actually, I'm pretty sure you did.
I basically because after Subway we came back and the car was parked because you were what were you? Because you had that special parking pass, remember?
Oh, I don't remember.
You were IRC or something. She was one of the leaders, so she had a pass that she could get into the nice parking. And it was sometimes we'd switch it off, and I would get to park in her parking spot. It was one of the perks of dating her.
I had so many perks.
And then I kind of asked you in the car. I was because you had just decided that yes, I want to be with you, and I kind of asked you there, and I still think you were let me just think because it's that day or something. Anyways, and then the whole proposal. Should we tell that whole story? There's
so many stories.
What time is it, Roth?
We are a tiny bit under 30.
See, I'm just trying to this is fun for the podcast and stuff, but honestly I just want this for us. This is cool to hash this all out.
I mean, there's so much more to the story too. We can't possibly talk
details
about it in
stuff.
1 hour 30 minutes. But anyway, we got married January 3rd.
How long were we engaged for?
We were only engaged for a month and 3 weeks.
A month and 3 weeks.
Sorry, Mom. My mom's amazing.
So
she threw together a wedding in a month and 3 weeks.
It was fast. It was, and that's
It was fun.
I was ready. That was the worst month and 3 weeks of my life.
Why?
Because I wanted to have sex.
But tell us why. Because we
didn't have sex. Yeah.
Do that until we got married.
I wanted to make the sweet, sweet love to you, baby. Yeah. I wanted to consummate our love. No, it was because it was it just sucked because we knew we were getting married. I had proposed. You had the ring, and it was then she lost it. And she was staying at her aunt's house, and I was living at my parents' house, which was 2 miles away. We were with each other all the time. So when I would have to say goodbye to her on the door at night, and it's 2:30 in the morning, it's okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Because it's we weren't sleeping together. We weren't living together. She was at her aunt's, and I was at my parents. So it was 2 in the morning, and we just got into this date, and I'm just I just didn't want to leave you. I just wanted to go to bed with you. Not I wanted to go have sex with you, but it's can we just sleep here? But we were trying to be good, and we wanted to be clean for each other, and it sucked. I just every night I was saying goodbye to you was the worst at night. So it was it
was, but
and then there's
then when we actually got after we got married, it was just so much sweeter to be able to hang out together. Hang out.
She's talking about the other thing. I think she's talking about the procreation.
Which we did that shortly after too.
Yeah, we did.
Procreated.
Do you remember when we threw away your birth control pills?
I was
she had these birth control pills because it was we're getting married. We got to get some birth control.
A couple days to a week after we got married.
So she had these birth control pills, and we just said are you ready? Let's have a baby. Right?
We just thought about it.
It was so quick.
You have a baby? Yeah, let's do it.
Fun. And so I remember throwing the pills away in that very first apartment that we had. We threw them away in that toilet. And I just remember I'm okay, we're having a baby. And then I remember the day I came home and you told me you were pregnant.
That was exciting. It was exciting.
But we'll have to save that for another podcast.
Yep. No time for
Running
that.
low on time. Well, thanks for listening to our super dramatic story
Super
about how we
romantic
found each
and
other
dramatic,
and we made a
and
family
we're so
and now we're in love,
in
and you're jealous of our love because you want our love. Well, you can have it too. You just got to work hard.
You just got to be really persistent, basically.
And it really is. And people like, love isn't just like, love isn't Hollywood. Love isn't like just this magical thing. Love is work. Love is a verb. Love is serving somebody. Love is, making yourself the best person you can be because you want to present that person something that is the best. And it's not easy. Love isn't easy. Love isn't just a feeling that just comes from a song or whatever. You get that emotion, but love is something way stronger than that. Love is something that you have to work for, and it's like something every day that you have to constantly nourish, like, like our, a relationship or whatever. So it's not easy. It's not easy to have an amazing relationship, which I think we do. I think we have a good relationship. We're super honest with each other. And
that's a big one, honesty.
Yeah, and we had, that's another podcast too, but we had points in our lives where we just decided, we've pretty much always been honest, but just saying everything that we got to cut, because then we're going to start about shaking.
So much to talk about.
No shaking.
Yeah.
Right. Tell them. Act like you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. You say that all the time.
We'll talk about it later. Okay. Anything else? Are we done?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot else, but it is time.
Thank you, everybody,
to say goodbye.
for listening to the podcast, wherever you may be on your journey in life. Because listen, it's all a journey, step by step, little by little,
and we'll be here,
and you'll be there, stepping.
And you can listen to us while you're stepping.
Download the podcast when the kids go to sleep. All right, thanks again, guys. We love you. Until next time, from Maker Studios in Los Angeles. We'll get some music
California.
here sometime. But that's Shay and Colette Show. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye. Later.